Well, the Jimmies have gotten some backlash.
The Jimmies as in the condoms?
The Jimmies as in the Fallons and the Kimmels.
Oh, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so, Tiff.
Not against each other, with the
Tiff, those are the kings of late night comedy. Please say it ain't so.
because
What happened? They're getting canceled?
But nothing with Coco, right?
What?
No, Coco's chill. He's very chill.
That's my dude.
That's Jimmy Kimmel.
the guy. Okay.
Conan O'Brien? Oh, Conan
I heard
O'Brien.
you, girl.
Okay, so the story here goes that they both have done blackface in the past.
Oh, if it's in the past, it's okay. I'm just kidding.
So, okay, so
Long
for
time.
example, starting with Jimmy Fallon, he tweeted this out. In 2000, while on SNL, I made a terrible decision to do an impersonation of Chris Rock while in blackface. There is no excuse for this. I am very sorry for making this unquestionably offensive decision and thank all of you for holding me accountable. Now we're gonna watch a clip of him doing it.
But he's making fun of one person.
Right.
And if Chris Rock is cool with it,
Is he?
I don't know.
Chris Rock signed off on this.
Here we go.
Rock, now we're talking. Where is he? Man, oh man, read this book.
That's pretty good. That's a good Chris Rock.
Who wants to be a
That's how the video
millionaire?
is.
Guess what? Not a lot of black folks on the show, right? Not a lot of black folks on the show. You know why? Because black folks don't like to answer questions. Oh, they want to be millionaires, but you gotta ask that kind of question like, in 1981, how many grams of crack did Rick James smoke when he recorded Super Freak? Regis, you think the only way to get a brother on the show is to name it Who Wants $50 Cash and a Pair of Pumas?
It's an okay Chris Rock.
It's good, Chris Rock.
It's Chris Rock. Wait, was that Jimmy?
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon,
Probably didn't even write the jokes, though, by the way.
they don't write their own jokes?
Well, so sometimes they do, but there's also a
If it's
huge writing staff.
yeah.
Yeah, because the jokes themselves, like, he's doing.
That's what people got offended by.
And
right?
then the jokes, like on top of that, is like pretty racist. So that's okay. So that's the Jimmy Fallon situation, and Jamie Foxx ended up coming to his defense because he commented on
This is crazy, bro.
on a right.
Jamie Foxx is a true comedian though, so I respect what he has to say.
And musician. And an actor.
And an
Yep.
actor.
DJ. DJ.
He's a defender of comedy, which I like.
Yep.
He ended up commenting under a post, and so he said he was doing an he said, you don't have to defend shit, Jimmy. He was doing an impression of Chris Rock. It wasn't blackface. We comedians know it's a tough time right now, but this one is a sketch. On a show called Living Color, we played every race. Let this one go. We got bigger fish to fry. # change course.
That's tight.
That is tight.
Yeah, I think when it's a specific person, that's impersonation. And blackface was traditionally like
About
making fun
everybody.
of black people.
Yeah.
Playing specifically on
Playing a
stereotypes.
black stereotype,
Kinda
yeah.
like what Sarah Silverman did.
Well, wait, hold on, because there's a context to that too.
Right.
No, because the joke was that she is Jewish and she's going to trade places with a black person for a day, and then a black person would be Jewish for a day or whatever, and that was the sketch idea.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Right. So
She has apologized for that too. She's like, I'm so disgusted by even doing that in the past. Like, she did say that. But yeah, that's kind of the situation there. But people are responding. For example, this one person tweeted, people are actually defending Jimmy Fallon for doing blackface, saying he was doing a skit. It was an impersonation. I just don't have any faith in this world anymore. How could you be so brain dead? You guys don't even know the definition of blackface.
he wasn't talking about all black people there, and the jokes that he was giving were fucking jokes that were probably not even written by him.
They try to
Jimmy Fallon doesn't
they
do
try to
jokes.
cancel us when Bart did Mayweather and
Pacquiao.
Pacquiao and said he did blackface, and then they also did a barbell commercial where they were like rolling
Dirtying
around,
themselves.
and then
Oh my god.
and then they said that they were
I forgot about that.
but they just fell down and just put fucking.
We were having a mud fight, like a snowball fight.
Yeah,
but
when
it
the
was a
actual
mud
video
fight.
came out,
That
it was me and
literally
Jill
it.
throwing dirt at each other's faces. But then since we were like, oh, because we didn't even recognize that it was blackface, because we're just.
I haven't even thought of that either, because
Yeah.
the whole context of the thing is that you guys are.
So the people that's calling it blackface is racist because they're thinking that they're
black-
probably trying to be
everything's
black
blackface.
for putting mud on their face.
And they're talking about all black people.
Zero correlation in the. I don't know. Well, okay, but then this situation, like the jokes were for all black people kind of thing, and I think that's why people are just really heavily getting upset
Okay,
about
but
it.
real quickly, if you know Chris Rock's stand-up,
It's all
that's what he
yeah.
says.
Chris Rock-esque joke.
Is what he just does. So
He's parroting Chris Rock because that's Chris Rock's stand-up is like.
Right.
If you see any of his specials in the '90s, it's black folks, this. Black
the
folks,
whole time.
this.
And I love Chris Rock. So that's all I'm saying is that as somebody who has the literature, who knows what Chris Rock did, there's a context to all this shit that's missing when you just look at the headline and go, it's blackface.
Yeah, there are people that will make the argument that if you ever put on like darker skin or whatever, it's blackface because
Even people getting really tan.
you're wearing it as a costume, and black people, they don't have the luxury of taking it off. Right?
Right, like there was this whole story of a girl in Korea who was doing braids, and then she decided to make a video of taking off the braids and explaining that she didn't want to appropriate the culture. But in the comments, there were a lot of black people saying, no, you could do that, and other ones saying, no, you can't do that. So even within, I guess,
It's kind of like the argument with the N-word too, like within their own.
yeah,
thing.
there's just different sides, but I think in this case, I don't know if we could even consider this blackface because there's one to be an impersonator.
Yeah.
And then I think, but blackface is, I always took it as, if we want to go logical with the definition, right? I thought it was just being a minstrel or making fun
Minstrelsy.
of black stereotype.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
about because I'm trying to like think here, like when it's white people playing Asian people and they literally do the thing with their eyes.
Yeah, but that's not impersonating. Like if it was impersonating, like what's his name, like
Bobby Lee or something.
Bobby Lee or a specific person, I would see that. I guess because from my point of view, in comedy and sketch, I would see that as an impersonation, like someone's trying to be George Bush or whatever, versus someone that's being a Chinese person.
Yeah, like breakfast at Tiffany's, frankly. Like that's racist, I think.
Yeah, that is the Mickey Rooney.
Yeah. So,
that's racist.
So right, so that's an archetype where he's like all Asians are like this or whatever, and that's lame.
Right.
Okay.
Whereas this cat's doing Chris Rock, and like I know Jimmy Fallon did Karl Malone, who was a Utah Jazz.
Kimmel.
Kimmel.
Or I'm sorry, Kimmel.
Yeah, because
I'll
like,
show
so
you
for
that.
example, like let's say if a black comedian played Andrew Yang, or if a white comedian played Andrew Yang, why would it be okay if the black guy pretend to be an Asian guy, Andrew Yang, the presidential candidate?
Or who does
right?
the best impression?
Exactly. So
So
but
Daryl
if it's an
Hammond-
impression, I think it to me, I don't care if it's white, black, Asian, or
Anybody,
whatever.
yeah.
Nobody's called this out yet, by the way, because he did such a good job. Daryl Hammond, a white guy, used to do Bill Clinton. He used to do Donald Trump. He used to do everybody on SNL in the 90s. He also did Jesse Jackson in the 90s.
Oh, that's
They
true.
used to tan his skin, and he fucking nailed Jesse Jackson. You could not hear Jesse Jackson without thinking of fucking Daryl Hammond's impersonation of him, and he was just doing Jesse Jackson.
So, okay, let me ask y'all this, right? What if a comedian was doing an impression of Andrew Yang, something like that, but he had his eyes fucking like taped
That's what I was
to
trying to
be
get at.
fucking Asian? Would y'all be?
Well, if they taped it to look like Andrew Yang and not taped it for the sake of trying to like make fun of Asians, I'd be cool with it. Like to me, it's like it's about the intent and accuracy rather than just the general.
Because I think for a lot of
wardrobe.
people that have gotten very offended towards this and like are really riled up, is that I think their argument is like, okay, fine, impersonate Chris Rock all you want, but why do you have to like put it on like the skin tone like costume of it? Where I think like for a lot of people feel like that's like crossing the line, kind of like the tape thing on the eyes. Like even if you're gonna be impersonating a very prominent Asian figure, you can do that without going that extra step of like caricaturizing it.
I hear you, but why did Dave Chappelle put on boots and heels and purple and pretended to be Prince? Like you know what I'm saying? It's like you wanted to look like the person. Like we all are adult enough to know that if you do certain things, you look more like a person. Yeah. So like if you darken your skin or whatever the fuck, and you look like more like Karl Malone, and you want to do a sketch about Karl Malone, you look more like Karl Malone. No shit.
Yeah, let me show you guys that.
That doesn't make it okay.
The Karl Malone is a little more.
Well, I know, but I'm right.
Yeah. So
This is Jimmy.
I'm Karl Malone.
This is on The Man Show.
First of all, I used to love the Man Show.
Yeah, I liked it too, actually. Here we go.
I'm Karl Malone.
Night, Karl Malone look up in sky and say, "What the hell going on up there?"
That was is a short one.
Oh, okay.
It was very.
You
it's a
guys
very
remember
long
that skit?
sketch.
He goes, "Hey, I'm Karl Malone," and like he always did. He was like, because back in the day he had those like commercials or whatever,
Right.
And it was just he was ridiculous in them because he can't like athletes can't act and they can't present and they can't do brand deals.
Exactly.
So that's the joke. But I guess after 10, 20 years, a lot of context gets missed, and I don't know. I don't know. For me, I feel like it's really fucked up when you play a stereotype of a culture, but when you're acting and impersonating, and I think it goes into kind of roasting, but you're playing that character, right? And I don't know, man. It's kind of a weird place where I feel like it's okay. Well, for me, for all races to do it. You could be an Asian guy playing a white guy if you're impersonating George
One
Bush,
person, yeah.
a specific person, because the intent behind it is I'm not. And even in the Chris Rock one, right? It's not like they made his lips extra big and then way fucked up to where it's like that's not even Chris Rock.
Minstrelsy. That's what minstrelsy was. If people fucking study what this shit was, it was a hyper like accentuation of
Red
all
lip.
features of black people, which is what was offensive. Well, not to mention what they were doing, but also too like what sucks about this shit is if you actually look at what Chris Rock, like I said in his stand-up says, like everything Jimmy Fallon says is the same fucking shit. And what Karl Malone just says there is exactly what he just said. Athletes are terrible at fucking doing commercials. That was the joke, if anything. Not that he's a black guy and
Right.
he's
Because
fucking
I would say it would
sounding
be
like a black
racist
person.
if Karl Malone started fucking dribbling a watermelon, he cracks it open, he takes a bite, and then he's all like, ooh, where's the fried chicken?
Right.
You know, then
Any of
that's
that.
kind of like, that's not even how
It's
he
hacked.
acts.
That's what's so offensive about
Yeah.
it is that's more hacked than anything else. Like that's what offends me.
And that's the thing about it too, is like when you watch some shit like that and you don't understand the context of it, right? Because like for sure I can see where people would feel salty about watching that Karl Malone sketch and hearing Jimmy put on this voice, put on the makeup, put on the voice, where it's like, okay, it's like, what are you trying to say? Is he dumb? Like, is Karl Malone stupid? Like, why are you putting on this voice like he's ignorant? You know what I'm saying? So then it's like, it's easy to make that jump of like, oh, okay, why are you putting on this like stupid ass voice when you're playing a black person, right? And that's where people kind of like, the shit gets fucked up, where it's like, okay, he might be making fun of just like dumbass athletes, but then like when he puts on the color and he puts on the makeup, then people start to get a little like, what you trying to say, bro? You know, and that's when they start to kind of get like offended about it, right? Because they're like, well, okay, what are you doing here? You know? But it's I mean, and that's why it's dope that I feel like Jamie Foxx was like, hey man, look, it's not about that.
Yeah.
It's like he was doing an impression of Chris Rock, and this is different than what you think.
How about with the Dave Chappelle skit again, like when he was like full on whiteface, and he's not impersonating a particular person, he's impersonating the entire race.
So did Eddie Murphy on SNL. When he did A Day as a White Person, he did the same shit. And honestly, both of them are funny. So nobody cares.
Well, yeah, and you're allowed to make fun of white people like that. Because blackface is a specific thing.
They did it,
Yeah, there's a history to it, which I agree with, by the way. I think it's offensive as fuck when it's done as a fucking thing about the whole race. That's bullshit. But like the way that Dave Chappelle and Eddie Murphy did white people, it was just funny. Nobody cared.
Well, I'm not offended by Dave Chappelle's his Asian character too. Even though it's like it's so over the top.
Which one was his Asian?
When he would do that, he did that fuck. It was like not even the stand up, but like on like season 3 of like the unreleased shit, he did like a super over the top caricature of like when they were like doing like there was like his conscious type shit, and it was like stereotype, bro.
The Chinese one.
Like hero type shit, you know. But it's like you kind of understand. I mean, us being comedians, we get when someone is doing a stereotype and they're not saying this is Asian people.
No, they're making fun of the stereotype of how extreme it is. Yeah. But some people take it literally.
Yeah, that one. Exactly. But then he does like a whole like ho, yeah, bro, and you can see why people could get offended, right?
Yeah.
Well, and he got in trouble apparently because he said that on his special, because his wife is Filipino, I think. That he makes Asian faces at her when she's mad at him. It's just a joke, obviously. Maybe rooted in truth, who knows? But it made people laugh, just like the room did. So that's the point. That's the point, folks.
Yeah, man.
When the point is to mock because it's shitty, that's minstrelsy, fucking blackface bullshit. But when the point is to, like, hey, I'm Chris Rock right now, and this is how Chris Rock sounds, and he nails it, that's how I feel.